Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Arseholics. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Mize. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy this episode, and we'd really appreciate you subscribing and share the channel with any other Arsenal fans that you think would enjoy listening to us talk about Arsenal. All right, boys, Rajesh, Arunan, how's it going? Are we well?
Yeah, good.
Use my full name. It means serious things are on the agenda.
Back to Premier League action. So West Ham on Sunday, fifth place West Ham, surprisingly, on Sunday, away. Quite a big game, actually, now, in the context of our league season. Next couple of games, West Ham and Liverpool coming up, could almost make or break where we finish the season if we actually could push for the Europa League, or let's say Europa League places, with the remaining games. What are your initial thoughts off the back of the Olympiacos defeat? What are your initial thoughts in terms of how Arteta might approach the game?
Yeah, it's that weird. It's going to be a weird weekend because it's the round of games where we will hopefully catch up, because there's only 4 or 5 league games this weekend, I think, because it's the FA Cup this weekend. We've completely forgotten about the FA Cup for once because we're not in it, but actually, which is quite nice this season. I feel like we did okay to go out the FA Cup early this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
I think if there was one year we were going to go out of the FA Cup, it'll be the year where there's no fans in a packed season where, all of our players are struggling with, well, not struggling with fitness, but it feels like players are getting tired. I just think this is the one season where, if we could turn it into a positive with a higher league finish,
if it benefits in terms of Europa League or higher finish, then fair enough. And we've obviously been quite successful in the FA Cup previously in the last few years. So okay.
And just the fact that you can't, the FA Cup for me is like trips to Wembley and like the big things, and like even if we got to the final, we probably wouldn't be able to go. So
but we still might be able to celebrate in your flat.
Yes.
By pouring liquor on and whatever it was all over your floor, and getting Raj absolutely smashed again.
that is fun,
I need people to understand that my drink was spiked
by yourself,
by one of these two. Yeah, you're lucky I didn't call the cops, mate.
When you turned up with that bottle, what was it? Tequila, wasn't it? And you're explaining the background of that bottle. I barely touched it, mate. You can't remember that.
So
that's a whole different podcast.
It is. But no, I guess to be honest, I think to your point, the biggest reason maybe I would kind of support what Aaron said is actually just more that this is this season where people are getting injured left, right, and center from all kinds of teams, from all teams, and fixture pile-ups, etc., are just not going to be very helpful around this time of the season. And I imagine that if we were in the FA Cup still, my concern would be we would probably not do very well in any of the competitions ultimately. And I think right now, being in just these two is probably just about right for us, because I think the way it's shaping up, there still is hope for 6th place, and it's weird to say that given we keep dropping points at times where there is no rationale as to why we should be dropping points against teams like Burnley, etc. But when you look at the fixtures coming up, I think we've got 10 games left, and I think 5 out of those 10 are teams that are basically in the bottom third of the league.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, isn't it? It's quite compelling because we've got West Ham, which feels like a 6-pointer. Then we've got Liverpool, which additionally feels like a 6-pointer. If we get results, I don't know, 4 points. Let's just say we get 4 points out of those, then we're in with a sniff, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those seasons where a lot of the big teams still have to play each other. Especially, we're 10th, right? So pretty much all the teams will play each other just because there are so many teams above us as well. But this weekend, it's Tottenham Villa as well. So one of them will take points of each other. If West Ham are a team that are doing well, but are still, I think, beatable. So, look, I think we should do what we can to win. I think Thursday is probably the game against Olympiacos was the last time I think we could really afford to rest or rotate players. In my opinion, now it's going to be strongest 11 every game.
I was going to ask you about what you think he might do, Arteta, in terms of the lineup. Is it the international break straight after West Ham then?
Yeah.
So you think he'll go full strength for this one? On the back of the fact that, sorry.
I think he has to. I think, we've conditioned players now, I think, for this run-in. And, there's no point resting players earlier on in the season, which he's done pretty well. We've rested and rotated relatively well, because now is when we need to play our best players for this kind of final 10 games to run in, especially post-international break. It's going to be big game. We'll need to take players off early when we're doing well, for example, but I think you'll see a core 8 or 9 players start every game from now until the end of the season.
I think it's still a case with our defense that as much as Gabriel and Luis have seem to play recently, like it's still a case where I think he will play whoever he feels is going to suit the game. So I wouldn't be surprised that Gibbon will be playing against Antonio where the holding plays, and so it may be actually there's some natural rotation that actually happens as a result of tactics themselves. Sorry, you're going to say, Mize?
No, it's interesting that you said that, because we kind of predicted the same against Burnley, didn't we? I think we did, or one of us did, just purely for his aerial presence and from set pieces, how dangerous Burnley are, and obviously Arteta decided not to. So that's quite an interesting one, isn't it, to see what he does with the centre backs. So that Gabriel and Luis have started the last 3 in a row now, both Olympiacos games and Spurs. So it will be really interesting to see what he does.
I think there's still some interesting stats around this season in terms of kind of aerial battles won and all that kind of stuff. I think holding is still top of our defenders list. I think if there's an area where we might just see some kind of natural, hard to predict, natural rotation, it might be at the back. But otherwise, whatever the case, I think he'll play his he won't be resting anyone. He's not going to make any decisions based on having to rest players. And I think, as we've just seen, Odegaard and Partey got a bit of a rest for today. Saka got a rest, and those 3 will most certainly play. It'll be interesting to see what he does up front, because Oba didn't have a great game just now, and Laka, I don't think he had a great game against Tottenham either, but at least he scored. So it'd be interesting to see if he doesn't play Oba and he plays Laka instead.
Is Saka injured? Was Saka injured today, or was he?
I don't think he was injured, because if he was injured, he wouldn't be called up to the England squad.
This is what I thought as well. So,
when's the first England game? Well, they've got 3 games, right? So they might be calling him up in a view to him playing a bit of the first game, or maybe
I doubt that would have been like. It feels like it's just a general understanding, though, isn't it? Because there's lots of other players who haven't been picked because of fitness. Like Maddison's not been picked, and Harvey Barnes. Okay, he may not have been picked anyway, but and then obviously you've got Grealish and Sancho who aren't there. Saka, if there is any doubts about his fitness, I doubt Arteta would be happy at all about him going.
And he doesn't have a say in it, right?
Well, but there's a general understanding, though, isn't there?
I know,
feels like
but
the relationship
I'm just thinking, okay, fair enough. I guess I thought he obviously came off against Spurs, and we said, it's not the kind of game that you'd bring a player off unless it was an injury that was worthy of him coming off. He wasn't in the squad today, right, for the Olympiacos game? No. Okay, fair enough. I think, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he'll definitely be. Obviously, we don't know, but I'm not sure he'll definitely be back for the West Ham game. I mean,
if he's not back for West Ham, then I can't see how he's. Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. Yeah, maybe. Then it would be a bit odd why they've called him up. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we think full strength for the game, for West Ham. I guess it'll be interesting just to talk about. Obviously, West Ham have had a really good season. They've been pretty consistent. I was looking at their results, despite losing. Obviously, they've lost a couple of games that you'd almost expect them to lose. City away, United away the other day, but they've been picking up the wins. Obviously, some really impressive ones as well. It's going to be a very, very tough game. Interested to get your thoughts on kind of like key battles, in the pitch where you think the game might be won and lost, they're danger men.
So I think effectively they replicated Sheffield United's season from last season, because David Moyes has said many times in interviews that they never expected to be doing this well, right? It was always a plan like that. Yeah, they obviously wanted to avoid relegation if they could do a little bit better than that and be comfortably outside of relegation. But I think David Moyes didn't think they're at that point in their evolution where they could actually be, a real top half side. And obviously they have done, and it really does replicate. I think in credit to them, they seem to have had a plan quite early on, and they've stuck with that plan, and that, it's come together, and they've just not thought too far ahead and just taken stuff game by game and cliches, and actually probably hit stability more so than many other teams. And they've not really suffered injury to key players. And Souček has obviously established himself as this like really important player for them. And I think if you look at the stats for West Ham, he's top scorer. He has the, I think, highest amount of clearances. Like, I guess my point is he's a bit of an all-rounder for this team. And so clearly for me, he's sort of their most important player right now. But I think at the end of the day, we beat West Ham at the beginning of the season, didn't we? We did beat them. And if you look at even West Ham recently, last 5 games, I think they've won 3 and lost 2, and they've lost to Man City and they've lost to Man United. To be honest, that just tells me to a certain extent that maybe now it's more of a case where they're getting more of their expected results, I suppose. And I think on that basis, I still go into this game thinking that we should be winning this game. We really should be winning this game. And I think the league table, might suggest that West Ham are a better team than us this season. The league table doesn't lie, but I think right now, as 2 individual teams playing one another at this point in time, I think we're a better team than them. And I think that, hopefully if we execute to, how we can, then I think we'll win the game.
I'm not so sure I see it as a kind of expected win for us, to be honest. I think West Ham this year are a very, very good team. They, like, Antonio is doing really well. Like you said, Souček's doing well, but then even players like Cresswell and Soufal, again, also doing well. And now they've got Jesse Lingard, who's come in out of nowhere and found form as well. And he couldn't play against Man United, so they lost a lot there. And he's providing them a lot of creativity. I think if we keep Antonio quiet, then I think we'll do okay. The problem is Antonio just seems like the type of striker to give us problems. Right? We haven't been keeping clean sheets recently, so we're going to have to be on it, both defensively and going forward, to just make sure everything goes in our favor. But I don't think I'd be very, very impressed if we came away with a win.
We've not been keeping clean sheets, but it's not been a case where we've been conceding the same types of goal. So it's not like we've been conceding goals because, there's been a target man bullying us, or it's been because we're being caught on the counter attack. So look, I agree that from a statistical basis, it would suggest that we're not going to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we're not going to keep a clean sheet. But I take your point about Antonio, because I think that he is the sort of player that historically has given us problems. But I think that we've got plans for dealing with players like that now. And I haven't remembered us getting bullied by anyone in a long time in that respect. I think my broader concern would be that, actually going back to something I said earlier, which is that they seem to have had a plan that they figured out quite early, and they've just been recycling that plan and have become quite good at doing it. In the same way as Sheffield United were just very good at doing Sheffield United and just did that consistently over the course of a season. West Ham are just consistently doing the same things and have mastered it quite well. And we are inconsistent. We're inconsistent. And we've said it before, and I think it's been covered quite widely. Our biggest enemy is us. And I still think our biggest enemy is not going to be West Ham. It's going to be us. But no, look, I take your point, and maybe I'm not giving them as much credit as I should, because, like you say, it's not just Souček. It's Cresswell's, 7 assists. I think he said number one for assists this season. Soufal's doing well. It's a real team performance, it feels like. And credit to Dave Moyes, right? I mean, did you guys see this coming?
No, absolutely not. No, definitely not to be pushing for Champions League places. No, definitely not. Yeah, it is going to be a tough game. So the gap in terms of points with us in 10th is 7 points at the moment. So obviously it would be pretty massive to close that gap. And I'm not saying we potentially could catch them if we win on Sunday. So it does put a lot of pressure on the teams above us if we could get that win. And like you said, Roger, is very much a 6-pointer. Okay. Should we go through what we think is going to happen then in terms of predictions? I haven't really thought about this, but go on, Aaron, and I'll let you go first.
Oh, this is tough. I will go 2-2. I don't think.
Do you think that'll be a good 2-2 or not?
I think it'll be a 2-2 where we miss loads of chances and probably make one or two stupid mistakes at the back. And we will leave thinking we probably should have won that, but we didn't. So okay. Frustrating 2-2.
Okay.
Yeah, Raj. I actually, even though it sounds like I think we should win, but I don't think we will. And so I'm going to go for a draw. Just to be different, I'm going to go for 1-1. But I think 2-2 is a pretty good shout, actually, because I'll be honest with you, I was disappointed that we lost today more from the perspective of just the fact that we've lost is just not nice and it's not good for momentum. It's one of those things that we've still lost a game and there's that feeling after you've lost. And I really hope that the players use it as something to beat themselves over the head with and don't start doubting themselves in any way.
Yeah.
Like, I think, it sounds like Leno came out and Leno said, we'll never win anything playing the way that we did today. And I hope that the other players also share that in the sense that they're saying like, no, absolutely, we need to get back where we were last game. And if we play like we did against Tottenham, we win, basically. Not forget the 10-man bit. yeah. But we will. But okay, so Aaron, sorry, that's a very long way of saying that we're going to draw 1-1.
Okay. I actually think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a really, really tight game. But I think that I just feel like the way that we're now setting up with this, the three kind of creative players behind whoever the striker is going to be, probably Aubameyang on Sunday. I think it gives us so much going forward. It's almost transformed our team. First it was Smith Rowe coming into the team, then Erdegaard's just come in, and you wouldn't have thought that he's never played for us before. You wouldn't have thought he's never played in the Premier League. And I feel like we're going to control possession because of that. And I think we'll get chances. We've been creating chances for the last few games. We've just not been taking them. And yeah, I think we're stronger than them and we can win. So I'm going to go with 2-1.
Positive.
Part of me thinks that we are due a clean sheet just from the onset. So, I wonder. I think the one thing I feel like is I do feel like Arteta will have a plan to mitigate their strengths. And I think that therefore, unless we do something silly, which we tend to do at least once a game, and unless Moyes comes up with some alternative ideas, then I think that we could get a result. But and I think that makes me feel quite good, because I think what we're saying more and more is Arteta's ideas being translated into the right outcomes on the pitch. And I feel quite confident that the players seem to know what they're supposed to do now. I just still worry about that mistake that we can't seem to shake. We just can't seem to shake that mistake, and it just happens in different ways all the time. If we concede against West Ham, I don't know what a West Ham type of goal is, by the way. But I guess my point is, I can still imagine us conceding something which is completely off script.
Yeah, you're right. At the same time, actually, I can see us one day, like putting away all these chances that we create and absolutely thrashing someone. because we've missed so many chances as well. So, maybe Sunday is the day when actually Oba puts away all the chances. Like against Olympiacos, it could have easily been 4 or 5-1 if we'd taken some of our chances, and they were good chances as well. So on another day, we said this a lot. On another day, we score 4 or 5. So maybe Sunday is the day when it all comes good and Oba takes his chances. Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka are on the pitch and all take their half chances that they usually create, and actually we come away with a comfortable win. But I just think West Ham are actually quite good going forward with Lingard and Antonio. They've got something quite nice there, and they are a dangerous team.
I don't want to look too far ahead because I know that we'll obviously preview it when it comes to it. But obviously we got Liverpool after this, but Liverpool aren't playing this weekend, and therefore So when did they last play? They last played a couple of days ago. Was it what? Sorry, not a couple of days ago. Whenever the last
weekend
was,
the
weekend,
yeah, the weekend or Monday night, I think. Yeah.
So their next game is ages away. The gap between games is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's ages. And I can't work out whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because on one sense, Liverpool, they finally started winning games again. So maybe they probably would rather not have had the break. But it's quite a long time to not play a game.
I think it depends who's going away for their internationals, right? I assume Salah and Mane will get picked. I assume African teams are playing. I assume South American teams are playing at this point. I know Trent hasn't been picked for England, which was interesting.
It potentially could benefit them because they've obviously got so many injuries at the moment. It might mean a player or two comes back. Yeah. I don't know what their current injury situation is in terms of when they're expecting players back. I know they've had some long-term ones, but it might just help kind of bolster their squad in time for our game.
Yeah, I mean, based on current form, I'd actually feel more confident of getting a result against Liverpool than I would against West Ham. Maybe I'm overrating West Ham tremendously here, but
well, look, based on the league table, I mean,
yeah.
Again, I'm not sure away or home means anything tangible at the moment, really, right? Like, I think this season has shown that, but I know what you mean. I would almost tend to agree. But I feel that Liverpool have at least won their last couple of games, so maybe they are coming into a bit of form. I think whatever the case, and I think we've said it repeatedly this season, so this sounds like, just saying it again, but it's a huge 2 games for us. It's massive because I can't, especially as we get closer and closer to the end, I can't see us, if we don't make at least 4 points out of these 2 games.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see how we're going to get that sixth place. And I think if we get 4 points, it's silly because I think if we get 4 points, then there's a lot of things that are possible. There's lots of things that are possible because of the fact that we are playing quite a few weaker teams afterwards, and and then who knows? But we've just got to get 4 points, in my opinion, at least.
If we get 4 points or better, is top 4 possible, in your opinion?
No, I think it's too far gone. I think, especially if you look at Chelsea's form, I can't see them capitulating.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe 10% chance, but that's about it. But I think it's almost like Chelsea wouldn't be the team that I would even target. I think it's Leicester. Leicester would be the team that are most likely to drop out of that.
They're 5 points ahead of Chelsea, so they've even got that extra little cushion.
They do. Well,
I know what you mean.
Whatever way you look at it, I think. Well, that's the thing, because I don't think there's any chance Chelsea are going to capitulate. Like, I think Tuchel's done a really good job of just making them hard to beat, and he'll probably maintain them as a team that's hard to beat for the rest of the season before he tries to get crazier.
Yeah.
So I can't. Yeah, look, I think maybe a 10% chance at best, even if we get the 4 points. But I think from our perspective now, let's be really clear and honest. Winning the Europa League is a massive possibility. Yeah, it's gone from very hopeful. It's still hopeful, but the fact that Tottenham are out and we are into the next round, and Aaron, and you mentioned it before, right? There are so many bang average teams in the Europa League. We've still got the potential to go out to one of these bang average teams, but overall, pound for pound, like, is this the weakest 8 in the Europa League than there has been for the last couple of years that we've been in it? I think maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think for the last couple of years, Atletico have always been around there as well, right? I feel like, the year we got to, when we got knocked out by Atletico, they were by far the strongest team. The year we got to the final, we had Chelsea there. I think this year it'll be either us or United that win it. So here's hoping United get knocked out next round, because they're the tough ones. So Europa is definitely the first priority. And I think this is next season the one where they're introducing the Europa Conference nonsense.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So does 7th place get into the conference?
Oh, no way, really? Is that next season? I didn't realize it was so soon. I thought it was like
next season.
That's a good point. I hope not.
Maybe one of our subscribers can comment and tell us rather than us Googling
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it depends what Spurs do in the League Cup. I think if Spurs win, then they get it if they don't finish in European places. But it's going to be...
What's the reward for winning the... What is it? The UEFA Conference?
If you win the conference, you qualify for the Europa League. Oh, yeah, and I look some of the teams, it's not a competition you want to play in.
No. All right, West Ham on Sunday. Fingers crossed for a good result then. We will see you guys post West Ham. Thank you again for tuning in, and like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Nice one, boys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.